Did you know that there's no practical difference between 3 urinals and 4 urinals? Shower thoughts. The Apple logo represents that you'll never quite get the full product. Literally. All superheroes are villains if you're a construction worker. You are friends with someone if you can sit next to them without saying a word and not feel awkward. Having horrible memory would stink, but it's great for rewatching TV shows. Nothing else really though. When someone is friendly to you, you are never sure if it's genuine or not, but if someone doesn't like you, you know it's genuine. Some of us are already wearing the shoes that we will die in one day. Wikipedia provides more good to the world than literally most people will in their lifetimes. Distributing flyers door to door is kind of like organized littering. There is nothing more annoying than hold music during a phone call, besides the automated message interrupting the music telling you to keep holding. Did you know Ohio has become the new Florida? Shower thoughts. A blind person's house is most likely always dark. Blowing on hot food makes it colder, but blowing on cold food makes it warmer. A lot of innocent people have suffered because everyone refused to believe them when they asked for help. Most pictures and movies we watch are recorded with circular lenses, but watched in a square or rectangular aspect screen. A 6 out of 10 is considered to be below average. What does that make me? We are closer to 2060 than we are to 1980. There has to be at least one ninja or spy that has embarrassingly given themselves away because of a sneeze. It's rude to talk on speakerphone in public, but if the person was standing next to you speaking at the same volume, it's no longer considered rude. Isn't it funny to think that the ad for the first TV with colors must have been in black and white? Like, how do they advertise it? Shower thoughts. Older televisions gave off that fuzzy static feeling when you touch the screen, and newer ones don't. Soon, it'll be a forgotten feeling. Nothing makes you sweat more than remembering you forgot to put on deodorant. It's stupid to hate on yourself for past mistakes when you don't even know if these mistakes prevented even bigger mistakes. It seems the rich and more famous someone gets, the more things they receive for free. So if you guys want to give me anything, or toothpaste has no reason to be mint flavored. Most people get married because they can't endure life by themselves. People who are liars are able to detect when other people are liars easily. We are encouraged to be different, but if we're different from what's expected, then we are shamed by society. If you think about it, barbers are trusted far too easily. Did you know that when your brain processes what's in the present, it's technically in the past? Shower thoughts. You literally get presents on your birthday just for existing. There's a slight chance that this video is the last video you could ever watch. Like 10 years ago, it used to be super weird if you watched anime, but now it's just super socially acceptable, which is good, but it's kind of wild. A person either respects you or they just don't respect you at all, and there's like no in between. The only reason people swear so much is because we're told not to swear. If we allowed swearing and made it normal, people would probably do it less. Why is it that even though you have a small glass of water, once you spill it, it seems like there's a giant puddle? The more you clean, the more stuff seems dirty. Why is it that cancer doesn't seem to exist in fantasy worlds? Shower thoughts. For every inspirational story about overcoming hardships and emerging successful against the odds, there's probably 100 more about those who didn't turn out as successful or successful at all, and then no one even hears from them again. In your dreams, you're laughing at your own jokes. Isn't it weird how bananas are used in comparison to other objects to show their size, but in the reality is the size of a banana is just inconsistent. When you are drinking a water on a hike, the load you are carrying feels lighter even though your total weight hasn't changed. It's absurdly easy to forget that vanilla is actually the color black and not white. We all kind of take for granted having no clue where clean water comes from or where our wastewater goes, despite it being one of the most critical elements of survival. Doggy heaven is probably squirrel hell. Why is it that the older we get, we just want to get home from whatever we're doing and just lay down in bed? Shower thoughts. Even though everything is rising in price, the thing that'll always stay the same price is the price of gumballs in a gumball machine. Using your old computer to shop for a new computer is like forcing someone to dig their own grave. I like to stay up at night because it feels like the world stops for a few hours and you just have no responsibilities. Why is it that waking up at 11 a.m. sounds lazier than waking up at 9 a.m. and then taking a 2-hour nap somewhere later in the day? The saying you can't judge a book by its cover is kind of a slap in the face to graphic designers. If Adam and Eve got into a fight, it would be a world war. As an introvert, I get more enjoyment from being invited to a party than I get from actually attending the party. Electricity is Earth's magic system. We are simply too accustomed to it. Someone out there still might be carrying the burden of what you once said to them in a moment of anger. Isn't it wild that there's a whole generation of kids who have never heard a dial tone? Shower thoughts. Dogs Dogs have a super powerful sense of smell and they don't seem to care about your farts. Elephants being afraid of mice is considered funny and absurd, but humans being afraid of bugs is considered normal. Never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Skinny people technically have less skin. Thanksgiving is about being thankful for who you have, and Black Friday is about wanting more instead of being thankful. Video games are trying to be more like movies, but movies are trying to be more like video games. The easiest way to wait for something is to forget it exists. Since the only faces we see in dreams are ones we've seen in person, watching movies is a good way to collect faces. Christmas songs hit different when it's snowing. People are more likely to give you money if they think you don't need money. Isn't it weird to think that at one point in time, it was weirder to see a person with clothes on than it was to see them naked? Shower thoughts. A successful marriage ends with watching the other person die. Computers are considered smart if they think like humans, and humans are considered smart if they think like computers. This could be your last video. Isn't it sad that homeless people probably hate the general public more than how we view them because of the amount of stuff they see that we waste and throw in the garbage? Shower thoughts. Being your own boss is great until you realize you're the one who has to make sure you show up to work every single day. The last person we think about before we go to sleep is either the source of our pain or happiness. Most foods we eat from the outside in, but pizza we eat from the inside out. It's hard to enjoy Sundays when you're dreading Mondays. With how popular streaming services are, you can't really gift people movies as a gift. The person that invented the kiss under the mistletoe must have been very, horny. Money is commonly the answer to both why something was done or why it wasn't, unfortunately. French fries dipped in ketchup is normal, yet considered weird when the same is done with potato chips. How come every time I receive a gift, it just feels like no matter how many times I say thank you, it's just not good enough? Shower thoughts. If you spilt paint on your lawn, you can actually watch paint dry and grass grow at the same time. Empty cop cars are basically scarecrows for people. Using self-checkout is basically supposed to speed up the process, but really it's more so we can just not talk to anyone. Instead of colorizing photos, in 50 years we'll be removing filters. The guy who came up with the phrase one-hit wonder probably never came up with another famous expression. Hiring a hitman on yourself and preparing for battle is the ultimate extreme sport. Elastigirl must have pretended to be in pain while giving birth to her 3 kids just to keep her identity a secret. Cats probably push things off the counter to break them so when an owner buys a new product, they can actually play in the boxes. Did you know that your age in years is how many times you've circled the sun, but your age in months is how many times the moon has circled you? Shower thoughts. The first person to invent audio recording probably thought it didn't work right because their voice sounded different in the recording. Being on your laptop makes it look like you're doing something important, while being on your phone makes it look like you're being lazy. If 2 people who stutter start talking to each other, there's a high chance that one of them is going to believe that one of them is making fun of them. If I was kidnapped and my mouth was duct taped, it'd be awful because my nose is like clogged 90% of the time. They say that 50% of marriages end in a divorce, but they don't talk about how the other 50% end in death. Swimming seems fun, but it's really using every muscle in your body to keep yourself alive. Did you ever think about how your pet also named you? Isn't it funny that listening to podcasts before bed is the adult version of a story time? Shower thoughts. It's kind of sad how people will spend around 10 minutes just trying to find a new parking spot to save around 30 seconds of walking. The atoms that make up our body aren't ours, it's just our time to use them. Comic-Con is the best way to see what your favorite superheroes would look like if they were to get out of shape. Butts are the only thing that you hit to show how much you like them. There are probably Tinder accounts from dead people that are still getting likes and messages. Reading avoid contact with skin must be absurdly scary in Braille. People who say money can't buy a friendship probably never consider buying a dog. Teachers will be quick to say that a classroom isn't a place to sleep, but by that logic, a house isn't a place to study. Trying to run away from the police is like choosing the double or nothing option. Don't you think an insane documentary would be flying a flat earther supporter to a space station for a few days? Shower thoughts. The first use of a cannon in battle must have been extremely terrifying. Buying erasers is literally paying for your mistakes. Game companies should not heavily focus on graphics. I mean, one of the most popular games out there is literally made of blocks. Good-looking people with terrible personalities are the real-life definition of clickbait. Why does every relationship begin with never change, and then it shifts to you need to change, and then it shifts to you've changed? Finding food in the forest is easy, but the problem is finding poison is 20 times easier. We cook ourselves in the sun to look tasty to other people. They tell you to stay a kid for as long as you can, but the moment you do something childish, they tell you to grow up. Why is it when we look 5 years into the future, it feels so close, but when we look 5 years in the past, it feels so long ago? Shower thoughts. Obsessing about if something is masculine or not is one of the least masculine things an individual can do. Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. Baby teeth are basically a tutorial for taking care of teeth. Everyone owns at least one human skull. The moon landing was actually staged. There was a lot of planning to actually get to the moon. Since dating apps are powered by algorithms, accidentally matching with a psycho will increase the chances of matching with another one in the future. The earth is a magnet to everything. Humans are the only species that mourns when another species goes extinct. TV characters are only as smart as their writers. Why is it that having one gay dad is far rarer than having two gay dads? Shower thoughts. Finding a needle in a haystack is easier than finding a piece of hay in a needle stack. The Incredibles is considered a kids-friendly PG movie, yet the antagonist is a serial killer and people get violently sucked into jet engines. Doofenshmirtz having a self-destruct button on everything is smart as it allows him to easily get rid of any evidence. Taking a bite from a burger decides which side is the front. Nothing is louder than trying to open a bag of chips quietly. For around 8 to 10 hours each day, millions of homes are occupied only by pets. White shoes don't get dirty faster, you can just see how fast they get dirty because they're white. George Washington never knew dinosaurs existed. The scariest thought out there is that you can become accustomed to anything no matter how terrible it is. Did you ever think about maybe vampires suck your blood for vitamin D since they can't go out in the sun? Shower thoughts. Both 10 a.m. and 12 a.m. becomes before 11 a.m. The hardest part about learning ethics is finding out that somehow, in some way, you are a horrible person. Rich people are invited to more free meals than poor people. Animals raising their arms is a sign of danger and intimidation, but for humans, it's a sign of surrender. Parents in the future are going to tell their kids about the times they went viral on the internet. When you play solitaire, are you playing against yourself or the cards? Either way, it's embarrassing to lose. Highway billboards are ads of different lengths depending on how fast you are going. Anything can be finger food if you're brave enough. Walking around with your belt unbuckled feels inappropriate, but removing it completely makes it okay again.